Hello, everybody. So looking over at the Google Classroom poll, majority of you, wanted to learn about teacher pages first. Don't worry, I will get to all the other stuff because there's some really cool features that come with all of the other Google Suite tools. So Google Sites, I am going to start with a little brief explanation why this was even an option. I had talked to parents, and a couple of them voiced frustration in the fact that during distance learning, the only way for them to really view in depth the material that was assigned to their students was by having their students sit down with them, log them into Google Classroom, and view it that way. Some of you might be thinking, well, they get the synopsis emails when an assignment is created and assigned, and that is true, but it doesn't necessarily allow them to see the details of the assignment as some of them would have liked. So while talking and brainstorming with people, this was brought up as an option where staff pages could be made where teachers post planners or brief kind of outlines of the material for the parents to view as well. So I thought this would be an interesting way to give you guys the option of that communication with parents. So first thing you need to do is we are going to go to sites.google.com/new. You have to have the word new in there, because as it implies, there is an older version of Google Sites that does not have our live version of the website. So if you don't have new, you will not have access to the correct website. So once you get to Sites page, you will have this right here, spraguelamont.org. You're going to click it. This will take you to the home page. Disclaimer, by making you an editor of the website, you do not only have access to change your teacher page, you have the ability to edit any and all of the website. So please be mindful of that when you go into edit. I say that with all the love and affection in my heart because I am that person who has accidentally deleted or moved or edited pages, not always mine, on accident, because this is actually a very easily editable website design tool. So just keep that in mind. So when we're on the home page, you are going to come over to this toolbar that is on your right-hand side of your screen. We'll see all of those options, but right now we need to come up here where it says pages. We're going to click that. The teacher pages are located under staff. So we find the staff and we hit the caret next to it. Teacher pages, caret. As you guys let me know that you are interested in a teacher page, I will add them. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and add one called Miss K. This will be the one that I utilize for this purpose. And I want to make sure that it is properly nested in the teacher pages. Okay, so it will give us a blank page. At this point, all of the editing will come down to you. I will show you a couple of the things that I do when I am creating a page on the website. So first thing I always do, this is what it'll look like for all of your guys' base web pages. From there, you can change it to one of 4 different options: title only, default, banner where it has a small image, larger banner where it has, gasp, a larger image, or a cover. This one is pretty much, they go to your page and it's an entire image. They have to scroll down to get to the content. I personally am going to use a banner for this example. So once I've selected banner, I hit this little arrow and it takes me to this option where I can change the background image. I can either upload it directly from my laptop or I can select the image. I'll show you the options for select an image. You have gallery, which is preloaded that Google has. By URL, you can take an image's address and you can plug it in there and get the image that way. You can have a Google search. For some reason, this is not always very thorough. It sometimes leaves out options that would have normally shown up in your regular Google search in a new tab. Albums, if you use Google Photos, you can pull a photo directly from their Google Drive. You can take an image that is located within your Google Drive. Okay. I, for this instance, am going to upload it directly from my computer. So on my desktop, I have my header right here. And this one I made In case you guys haven't noticed it yet, I have a newfound obsession with Bitmoji. I have incorporated it into learning resources right at the end of the school year. It's fun and it's kind of a neat way to grab the students' attention, in my opinion. So now that I have my header up there and it already has my title, I'm going to go ahead and delete this box. See, when I hover over it, it outlines it in blue. That is just kind of a reference as to what you are going to highlight or what you're going to edit when you click on it. So I've clicked it. I want to delete it. Okay. See how it's also dark? I want to lighten it. I am going to hit these star icons down here. What that does is Google automatically tries to adjust your header image so that the font of your title shows better. But again, because I don't have that text, I don't need it to adjust it for me. If I choose later I want it back, I'll just go ahead and click that icon again. Okay, so we have our header fixed. Now we're going to work on the body of the page. That is going to be this white section right here. There are multiple ways you can add stuff. I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I use. So if we go back to our Insert tab, you can click on any plethora of these options. So for this instance, I'm going to add text box. Automatically, we'll adjust it to the width of that section. I'm going to type in here, about me. I want this to be more of a header or a subtitle. So I am going to select it. And this right here is the only way you can change the text size and format. Unfortunately, that's one downside of Google Sites. It doesn't give you a great range. If you really wanted to get in depth, you could code it, but I don't think any of you want to get that in depth. So we'll go to normal text, and I want this to be a subheading. So see how it made it larger? I also do not want it all the way over here. So first off, I'm going to drag it. And do you all see those vertical lines? Those are your grid markers. The text box and all of the other editable features on your Google site fall into these grid lines. So let me just show you what it looks like in action. If I go here between 2 grid lines, it will automatically assume the width that I want. So in that regard, it cannot be done super finite, but I have not encountered an issue where I go, oh my gosh, this is so inconvenient. It's more annoying than anything. So I have my about me. I want to add another text box. I could just continue down below, but for this example, I'm going to show you another way you can add the text box. Last time we clicked here. If I go into a blank area of the body and I double click, this little menu pops up. We have embed, which would be if you're coding stuff or you want a widget. Google Drive allows you to take something directly from your Google Drive. Upload allows you to upload something directly from your computer. Image allows you to take an image or your text box. So I'm going to click that. See, again, it went to the default width. That's okay. I have text that I copied already, and I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to paste it in here. Okay. So this box, instead of dragging it over like I did for the about me, if I grab it and hold, I can drag it wherever I want. See how all of these blue areas are showing up? That is where Google is trying to assume I want it. And it also shows me the width that it would be when I drop it there. So I could put it right here, but I don't want to. I want to put it right here. See how it shows me the width by having that bold blue bar? When I release it, it will automatically create it to the same width as my about me, directly underneath my about me. There we go. The last thing I want to add for my about me is my Bitmoji, because again, I have a small obsession. I want this image directly from my computer. So I'm going to go to upload and I select it. And again, I'm going to hold it and drag it up here. And there we go. There is my sidebar. Okay, now I'm going to embed what I think is probably my favorite tool I have found since distance learning has become so prevalent in our day-to-day life. It is a planner that I can edit as a staff member. put on here and is viewable and only viewable to the general public. I can hyperlink it, I can add stuff to it, but they cannot change what it looks like. So I'm going to double click and I'm going to upload it from my Google Drive. Notice it keeps me over here. I know what it's called, so I'm just going to hit my search bar, but otherwise you would navigate through my drive the same as if you were in a separate tab. And I'm going to look for my planner. And I kid you not, this is my favorite thing I have found. So it's a Google slide. I just double clicked it, or you can click it once and then hit insert, either or. And I'm going to exit out of that because I don't need Google Drive over there anymore. Okay, here is what I have. It kind of makes a default size. I don't want that default size. So I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to click it once, and that allows me to bring up these dots that allow me to change its dimensions. And I'm going to drag and drop it. I tried to keep it proportionate as I drag it over. If I were to just go over, see how it changes what it looks like in the Google slide. So I now have a document from my Google Drive that is viewable for the public. Again, it's only viewable, they cannot change it. But from here, I can go ahead and I can add assignments on my end. They can go to the week view, see the assignments that I've maybe hyperlinked. The parents can click it and view the assignment. They could even print it off. They just cannot change it. This is my favorite tool. And once I've shown you how the website works, I will show you what it looks like as the public. So I have this here. Maybe I want to add a button so that students can click on it and it will take them directly to our Google Classroom. So I've named it. I'm going to come over here and I am going to grab my Google Classroom URL. It's just the one at the top. The thing that's kind of nifty about this to a degree is once I've inserted this button, and I'm going to drag it here, people can click on this button and it will take them directly to the correct Google Classroom. However, if they are not a student that has been enrolled in that classroom, it will pop up with a warning that says, you are not enrolled as an active student in this classroom. Please talk to the teacher. And then it will direct them away. They will not be able to view the classroom. So this is nifty for your students, but it does absolutely no good for parents. But for the purposes of this example, that would be how you would add a button that would hyperlink and take them elsewhere. Another way that you can do that is by adding an image. What do I want here? And hyperlinking the image. So for this example, I am going to come here. I'm going to click this and insert it. Way too big. I'm going to put it right here. Okay. Notice when I clicked on Spotify, it's outlined all of this. This is what I mean by it's very easy to accidentally edit something you don't mean on this. To select one thing in a column you are not currently working on, have to click it twice. Not double click like that, just one, pause, two. Otherwise, it tries to edit everything in that column. I have messed up so many pages by accidentally forgetting that second click. So now that I have this image selected, this little menu pops up. I can crop it, which only allows you to drag and drop like this, kind of annoying. I can reset it, which puts it back to perfectly fitting. I can hyperlink it, which is what I'm going to do. And the hyperlink I want is my podcast, where I'm reading to the elementary students. So I came up here, I copy, paste, and apply. So now when they click on it, it will take them directly to my Spotify podcast. The other options when you select something are delete. Then you have this for more options, and this can vary from item to item. So this, what I just did with this image, does the exact same thing as creating a button. Just depends on how you want it to look. The next thing I'm going to do, I like to divide up my page based on section. And to do that, I just click divider right here. And it adds this nifty little line that separates my class. Most of these are going to be self-explanatory, and they're just going to have to be clicked by you, experimented with to see what you do and do not want on your teacher page. The last thing that I generally add is a calendar. And this one's really nifty because you can select one or you can select multiples. In this instance, I am going to select distance learning, elementary class schedule, high school class schedule. My eyes did not want to focus on that. And middle school class schedule. So it tells me how many are selected for, and all I have to do is click insert. From here, I have settings to further customize how I want this calendar to look. So if I click this gear, I can show the title. This one's an interesting setting that for the longest time I went, well, that's stupid and useless. Of course I want the title to show. However, if we look at the title, it picks one of the calendar names and it applies it, which can be very misleading because I selected elementary, high school, middle school, and a Google Classroom, but it's only saying that it's elementary. So oftentimes when I select more than one calendar, I will delete or I will deselect the option for showing the title. Showing the date, it'll take this part and it'll take that away. Navigation buttons, that will take these away. That way they are stuck and locked into this period of time that you have shown them. If you do week view, they can't see past this week. Sometimes that could be useful. I generally keep the navigation buttons on. Show time zone, self-explanatory. Show user's time zone, also self-explanatory. Use selection, we go ahead and do that, and it takes away their ability to change it from agenda, week, and month. I usually keep that on. It's convenient for parents. This one is my favorite. So it defaultly sets it to agenda. So it'll show you what you have starting on this date to the indefinite future. Then you have week view. I found this very useful during distance learning for class schedules. It showed who was meeting when for this week, and it shows this week nice and precisely. For multiple calendars, I generally put month, however. This is what's on the home page. It'll populate this, it'll color code it. It's really nice. Once you've got it set the way you want, click done, and there you go. Again, you can drag and drop the size. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you for the insert is the image carousel. The rest of these are pretty self-explanatory, but this one has a couple of settings that I'd like to share with you. And this is actually a very useful tool. So what it does is it allows you to take a selection of images and put it in a rotating slideshow type format. And this is helpful if you have announcements. I use this on the homepage quite frequently to display flyers for upcoming events or announcements like board meetings, the blood draw, concerts. So this is really helpful for that kind of sharing. Note you have to have at least 2 images for this feature to work. If you just have one, it's going to say no, which isn't surprising because you could just upload it as a normal image. So you're going to hit this plus button. And again, you can upload or select. I am going to select. And I'm going to go to photos because I have a couple of mock templates that I've made up that I would want to share with a imaginative class. So I'm going to select them. And just like with the calendars, you can select more than one. at a time. It shows you how many you have selected, and you will click insert. Once they have fully uploaded, you can then rearrange them, which I'm going to do because for some unknown reason to me, it always puts this one first when I am trying to make this tutorial, which I've done a number of times at this point. So once you have them reordered, if you notice, when you hover over them, you have two options: delete or add text. Under add text, you can add alternative text. If you had someone who needed a screen reading software in order to navigate around, this would tell their screen reader what this is. You can also add a caption, which I'm going to do for this one, just to show you what it looks like when I have this published. So I have them ordered. I have them with their added text. I'm going to click insert. It's going to place it any old place on here that it wants. I am going to select it and drag it where I want it. Okay, now that I have done that, you will notice, well, you might not notice because you don't know what this looks like in originality, but I will tell you, the top of it has been cut off. This feature is finicky in regards to the fact that it does not automatically adjust based on the image's proportions. So when you upload an image to this, what that primarily means in practice is that you want all of the images to be the same orientation. So if you have one that's a portrait view, you are going to want all of the ones after it to be in portrait view. If you have portrait, then landscape, one of them will not display correctly in the view once you have published the page. It's kind of annoying. And so I don't recommend this if you have different formats, but all you do, if you have them in the same orientation, is drag it so that it views all of it. You only have to do that once, because once you've published the page, it will keep that view that I see right here throughout any type of device. So I have edited it. You can see the caption down here for if you need to explain something to a parent as to what that material is. We have our calendar, we have our viewport. I could add a whole bunch of different text, which I might do in between cuts to show you a little bit more rounded a web page. But overall, that is the options over here. Again, you can play around with them. A lot of them work around the same basis of the things that I have shown you already. The last thing that you are going to do are look up at your setting bar up here. So like every other Google thing, we have the option to undo, redo. This one is nifty. It allows us to preview. And what that does, I will show you, is it allows you to see what the page will look like published on multiple different types of devices. So the last one I previewed in was phone, so it took me to this one automatically. So this is what the page would look like on a cellular device. This is helpful if there's something where I'm not quite sure if it's the best of the quality of readability. So for this one, calendar, it really isn't the most readable element in this format. So if I really wanted to target people who use their cell phones, I might change in my calendar settings the view to be weak. Again, it kind of also depends on what you want to put stock in. So that would be that. We can look and see what it looks like on a tablet. And then again, on a computer, this is what it would look like published. To get out of preview, I'm just going to click exit. And it takes me back to my full editable page. The next one is copy link. What this does is when you click it, it shows you the link for your page. This would be handy if you needed to share your specific page with parents or students via email or Google Classroom. You could just copy, paste it in there, and all they would have to do is click and go directly to your page. And then they could bookmark it or navigate around it, whichever you need. Okay. The next two settings I'm not going to go into detail about because I would greatly appreciate them not being touched. The first one is the ability to add collaborators And the next one is just kind of the overall website settings. Both of these don't just change your page, they change the entire website, which again is why I'm not going to go into depth on them, because I would appreciate neither of those being touched. There is one other option that I would really appreciate people not experimenting with, and that is themes. It would not just change the theme of your page, it changes the theme of the entire website, which I have painstakingly tried to work on throughout the years of our website. And so just those three settings, please do not touch. More settings, there's not really anything in here that you need. Publish. This is where you're going to go when your page is completed and you want to see it, or you need students to see it once you're all done. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish. And the second this is done, I can navigate to it in another tab, and all of the changes I have made will be there, which I'm going to do now, along with the couple of edits that I'll make in between cuts, so that you can see what my page looks like for students and community members. Okay, so I've navigated to the website as if I were a community member, student, or parent. So the way that they are going to get to your staff page is by going to staff and hovering over it and hitting this caret down here. This will then give them the list of all of the staff pages. So I'm going to go ahead and click on me because I have my fully edited page for this tutorial on there. Okay. So this looks pretty standard to what we just worked on. I've added a couple of things. I've added a description of the classroom. I've added a YouTube video for a tutorial. I have my image carousel along with captions. They can navigate through it at whatever pace or direction they want. In a phone view, this would show my Google Currents update. So that's kind of like Google's equivalent to Facebook or Twitter, where you can post updates and stuff like that. And this used the embed option. I took a URL or code and I embedded it into the website. They're still working on this new one. So for some reason on a website itself, on a computer, it does not show up. However, on a phone, it does. I've gone ahead and embedded from my Google Drive a form. So if we went back to that editable page, you remember how I added the Google Slide planner. I did the exact same thing here, except it was a Google form. Then straight from their website, they can fill in information and submit it, and it sends it directly to me. They don't ever have to navigate away from my homepage. This could be really helpful if you have to have on your page if you want students and parents to be able to contact you immediately and directly without having to go to their email. As you can see, I resized the calendar. I divided the screen further. But now I want to show you my favorite feature, that Google Slide that I entered that allows me to share a planner with the parents as well as students. This little thing I found on the internet, I believe it was Pinterest, and it's fully customizable. This is not, in fact, how it looked when I first got it, I promise. But the thing that makes it so exciting is you can go through it like a normal slideshow, but all of these tabs are hyperlinked. So I can click and I can navigate through the months how I will. But it's not just the months. I can navigate through notes. All of this is customizable on my end. However, as a viewer, I cannot change anything. I can select it, but I can't change it. As you will notice, the thing that makes this really helpful and handy and nifty is if I go to week view, I have all of these slots for assignments. And you'll notice that some of them are green and underlined, while some of them are black and not underlined. The ones that are green and underlined are hyperlinked. So pretty much what that means is a parent could go ahead and click it, and it would take them directly to a uneditable version of the assignment that I have hyperlinked. I will show you what that looks like, but take in mind, because I am logged in as me, it will be editable. If I was as a community member or an incognito mode, it would not be editable, just viewable. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and it would look similar to this, just not, they couldn't click anything. It would just show them the presentation, and it would say view only. They could navigate through the slides, but the parents would be able to see it, and they would still be able to print it out if they needed to. This works well with Google Classroom. I mean, ultimately, you could utilize this to take some of the burden off of Google Classroom, but primarily, this is just a nifty tool for communicating with parents' assignments and letting them visualize what the assignment actually looks like. This, again, is really become one of my favorite tools that I have found since all of this craziness started. And if you are interested in using this planner, you can let me know and I'll send it to you. But I mean, I have my little bit emojis added in still, so I have my own little fun touch to it. You can just add so many neat things. This literally, I created a square. I drew a shape on this Google slide, and I was able to add text to it. So it looks like I have a sticky note on it. This, on your end, you can long hold these squares and change it into a check mark so you can check stuff off, or parents can print this off and check mark it off on a physical copy. This is just, I kid you not, you guys, this is one of my favorite new tools that I have found. And you can even hyperlink stuff in here. So I hyperlinked this. It takes them directly to the assignment in Google Classroom, because that is the thing you can do. You can grab the link from the classroom assignment and plug it in to your document. So all they have to do is click a link, click the assignment on your document, and it takes them to the assignment in depth on your Google assignment, on your Google Classroom. I'm sorry, I got so excited. Okay. Overall, that's how that works. Again, that was a button I made. I can click it. Takes me to my classroom. This is also a button. I can click it. It takes me to the podcast. I could even make this clickable. I think I did make this clickable. It takes me to my actual in-depth site. All of it is very editable and customizable. The YouTube, it plays right in the screen. That doesn't even take them away from the site. This, I can add the Google Classroom calendar to the website, and those that are in the class will see this. If it's a parent or someone not actively enrolled, it won't even show up on the calendar. But again, for those that are actively enrolled in the class, they can see the description for the assignment and a link for the assignment. It is just really nifty. So, in conclusion, I think that is pretty much all I have to share on how to edit your staff pages. So what I'll do is, if you want to let me know whether or not you want one, I will start creating pages for you to edit and customize. And if you have any further questions on how to navigate around the Google sites and teacher pages, you can obviously let me know, and I will try to help you any way I can get that done if that's something you're interested in. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you.